My next guest always dreamed of sailing to the stars as an astronaut. Instead, he's written and produced award-winning songs for some of the biggest music stars ever. I'm Penny Lane, and In the Driver's Seat starts now. Brian Jobson is a qualified astrophysicist, an expert in metals who once dreamed of working for NASA, but a childhood love of music led him to a totally different direction. Instead of mining for gold, he wrote and produced gold and platinum records. Brian Jobson, welcome to In the Driver's Seat.
Well, you must have driven a long way to get here, right?
All the way from Australia just to see you.
Yeah, and you're still standing strong.
I am. It's the place I've always wanted to come to, and it's absolutely magical.
Well, it's always been here.
So, Brian, music runs in the Jobsons family, doesn't it?
Well, my parents unfortunately, were not musically.
Really?
But they always had, music playing around the house. Good music. I mean, looking at it now, at the time, we and my brother would say, why are we playing all that? But they were playing Oklahoma and the show tunes. So all of those songs got ingrained in my mind. So I knew all the lyrics to all of those songs and I studied them, I mean, it was, so looking back now, you should always have music, especially as kids, when you have kids, always have music around them, whether it's classical, jazz, whatever it is, but good music, right? Because even though they'll complain, in the end, it sinks in, and then comes out, as they grow older, and then they can actually appreciate it,
And when did you first start playing music yourself?
Well, me and my brother, we like a friend gave us this guitar, one guitar, and it had like 4 strings, and it wasn't tuned, but we had no idea, So we just started playing, an out-of-tune guitar, and that one thing led to another. Then I got a teach yourself guitar, and it said how to tune them, and when I tuned it, I said, wow. I said, Wayne, hold on. This is why the guitar wasn't sounding good. It wasn't in tune, So one thing led to another, and then we'd listen to the radio and imagine songs, and then the Beatles came along, and we said, oh, we can do that, So we started just writing stupidness, I mean, look at it, But that was a start,
Yeah. What kind of songs did you write then?
Well, we would kind of like write R&B, like doo-wop, those kind of songs, I mean, basically like, I love you, love me, my girl has left me, those kind of things. But they didn't really, we were like 7 and 8 and, at that time, and we said, yeah, we're going to write songs, everybody else can do it, we can do that,
But you and your brother Wayne went on to form an amazing band. When did that start?
That was almost like accident. We always used to write songs. And as teenagers, we'd go into Kingston and, go to some of the artists or the studios and hang around there and carry our guitar and say, oh, we have a song you want to listen to. And they went, what are these guys? Come out of here. So we kept on doing that. And we said, we're going to just do it ourselves. So we just started writing songs ourselves. And then eventually, Wayne went, we had a cassette of some songs, and Wayne went to Lee Scratch Perry,
Wow.
studio. And said, oh, can you listen to these songs? And unlike the other artists who said, get out of here, you guys don't know what you're doing, he said, yeah, you guys look like Arawak Indians, like native Indians. I want to record you.
Astrophysics, that's a little bit different.
No, I'd done astrophysics when I was in the States, when I was at University of Rochester. But then I came back to Jamaica for a year, and then I wanted to go and do, postgraduate work. But I didn't want to go back to the States, right? Because I said, I've seen that. I want to see a different system. So there were some scholarships offered. So I applied for the scholarships, and as fate may have it, I got a scholarship to Australia and to Yugoslavia, and also one to Russia. And I said, Australia, yeah, but Wayne will be in London. To go and do music is too far, and I'll be down there, God knows, But I love the cricket, So I said, man, the cricket will be good down there. I'm not thinking about studying, I'm thinking about, And I said, no, And then Russia, no, I've been there, done that. So I went to Yugoslavia. And then it was close enough to England, so I could go. In holidays, I'd go over to Wayne and we'd jam and make records, and that's how we got the deal here. Yeah.
But you did dream of once having a career going into space?
Yeah. No, when I was at school, because growing up in Jamaica, right? And we lived up in the hills, and the skies were so clear at night, you know. So you'd look up, and it's just like a vast thing. So from I was small, I'd love to climb up on the roof of my parents' house and look up at the stars. And
Yeah.
where the hell is Brian? Oh, he's up on the roof looking at the stars, you know. And then I just was dreaming. I said, man. And then you know the whole space thing came up, and I said, man, I'd love to go travel at those things. And I'm like wishing on a star, you know. And then as fate would have it again, a couple after somebody moved next door to our house, right? And they had a telescope. They had a telescope in his yard, and I said, "Wow, who is that?" Turned out he was a dentist, the local dentist, but also he was like the head of the Astronomical Society of Jamaica. So this is when I was like 11, 12. So I would say, "Wow!" So I would go over there and watch him looking at night. And he said, "Brian, you want to look at this?" And I said, "Yeah, man." So I went and looked through, saw rings of Saturn, moons of Jupiter, and all this. And I just said, I have to do this, whatever it is. And then he died like a couple years later and left me all his telescopes and his magazines and his books and all that. So I was in heaven, you know. So I said, I have to do this. So when I was finishing high school now, some friends of my parents came and I was applying to university, and they said, okay, well, what you want to do? And I said, well, I love physics and I love astronomy. They said, okay, the town we're from, University of Rochester, has a very good department. Apply there, and you know, so I applied there and applied to different places as well. But I said, let me go there, you know. And I said, some of the biggest decisions I've made in my life were made on the spur of the moment.
Were they really?
Yeah.
Is that because you felt confident, or you trusted your gut?
Because you know, when you go into a supermarket or you go to buy shoes and you say, I don't want to see anything, I want that one, you know. Other people going, oh, look on this and look on that. It's like when I get an idea for a song, I have to do it right then, because if I don't pursue it, I'll forget about it, you know. And usually that initial idea, when I put that down, and I might think about it later, you know, but usually the initial impulse is like lightning striking, you know, it doesn't really strike twice. So I always very impulsive things. I mean, it can get me in trouble,
yeah.
You understand? And it can lead you down the wrong path, but at least I did it, at least I tried it, you know. I don't like overthinking things too much, because I prefer to move on, do something and then move on to something else.
Yeah, I suppose if you're making lots of quick decisions, you might make the odd bad one, but
but our batting rate is not bad overall, you know.
That's amazing.
I mean, I could have been in Australia. I could have said, you could stop, you know, Australia. Then we probably wouldn't be here now.
You would have changed the music scene in Australia. You would have changed the course of everything.
I'd be playing didgeridoo.
You really would. Yeah. Now, when did you decide to give up native and start being a producer, and what sparked that?
No, well, you know, I think bands last maybe like 10 years. Yeah. After 10 years, you know, everything kind of changes, or, you know, everybody, you know, you have families, girlfriends, whatever, drugs, you know. So everybody, because when you start, it's like a gang, you're a gang. And our gang, Native was a gang. I mean, we grew up together. We knew everything, you know. When we'd go on tour, it was like us against the world. We'd go to California and just get a little house, and everybody, we'd walk down the street like in Bakersfield where we were staying. I would get jaywalking tickets, because as you know, we don't really wear too much clothes out here. So we're in these, you know, in these housing places where we are, and we're rehearsing, and the people come in and we just have on like bathing suits, and must say, was it some like gay business going on, you know? But that's how we were, you know. So it was always, we were kind of like the outsiders, and we were playing reggae music, and they at that time they didn't really know what to expect, you know. I mean, we played at some places that were really crazy, you understand, you know, and I mean, you know, biker places and all that, and people would look, what the hell is this? But looking back on it now, people say, oh yeah, I went to those gigs. I said, no, you didn't. I'm sure you didn't, because, you know, but yeah, so the bands, you know, morphed. The original members, we were together for about 6-7 years. Then everybody, some people left, some people, you know, stayed. Me and Wayne and another guy, we kind of kept it on going. And then, but what we always found is that people would come and see us, and we had a certain sound, right? And a record company would sign us, and then say, okay, we know now, and they're gonna, we're gonna get you with the hottest producer of the day, and they put you with that, who doesn't understand anything at all. Like, we were doing reggae, and they said, we know all about reggae, Harry Belafonte, you understand? Which, I love Harry Belafonte, but it wasn't reggae, you understand? So they didn't really understand it. So after a while, with dealing with the majors, I said, you know what? we have the wherewithal to do everything ourselves. So let's just make records ourselves, tune the thing, and then if a record company hears it, they get it. If they don't hear it, then they're not for us.
And when you're writing songs, you're an amazing songwriter. Where do you get your inspiration from, and where are you when you're writing these songs?
I can be anywhere. Lately now, I've been writing a lot of stuff underwater. Yeah, because like I swim every day, and it's a whole new world under there, you know. So you see all the fish every time you go to a certain place. You see the local puffer fish or the local barracuda and all that, and I realize it's a whole, and they kind of look at you like this, like, you know. So, and you keep running as well, and I keep a rhythm going, you know. So I'll just sing random stuff, you know, because it's me in my own world.
Yeah.
And that I can control all of that. I don't have cars beeping around or anything like that, you know, so especially in the water. So I get ideas, and then when I come back, I might say, I just remember this thing, so I put it on my voice notes, and then, or at night or whatever, and then go back to it the next day and say, oh no, crap, forget it, do something else. So there's no, whether it's words or melodies, and I write on a guitar, so I just sit out on the veranda strumming things, and then ideas just come.
If you had to pinpoint what made you successful, what would it be?
Luck. Luck and timing, being in the right place at the right time, meeting the right people, because I know some of the most amazing musicians and they don't get anywhere. You understand? And I mean, you have to, and also the love of it.
It has been so lovely meeting you.
All right,
Thank you
good.
so
Yeah, man.
much for coming on In the Driver's Seat.
All the best. Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me.
In the Driver's Seat is brought to you by the Perfect Cosmetics Company. You're watching Ticker, and we'll be right back.